Oh my gosh, this can't be right. Hey crew, welcome back to my channel for another flight attendant video. For those of you who are new, my name is Bridget. I'm a New York City based flight attendant for a major US carrier, and today I am back with another story time, so stay tuned. So as you guys requested from the question and answer video part 2, if you haven't seen that, I will link it right here. You wanted to hear the story of my Long Beach experience. So before we get into the story time, I'm going to name this story The Long Day in Long Beach. So this happened a few years ago at one of my previous airlines, and as you guys know, or if you did not know, I have always been New York City based. I'm based in New York City. I am sitting reserve. In this instance, I was sitting home reserve. So I wasn't sitting in the airport on airport standby. I hadn't been assigned anything. I was just waiting for them to assign me something. And at my previous airline, we had shifts for our reserve times. So I can't remember what shift I was working, but I sat the majority of my shift and I was almost to the point where I was going to be released for the remainder of the day. All of a sudden, I hear that horrid ringtone I had for crew scheduling, and then I pick up the phone. So I answer the phone. Someone from crew scheduling is like,
yeah, you've been assigned this trip where you're going to deadhead to Long Beach. You're going to sit airport standby in Long Beach tonight, and then you're going to sit in the hotel for 3 days, and if they need you, you will be assigned a trip out of Long Beach, and then we'll deadhead you back at the end of your reserve block.
So I'm like, okay. At that point, I was fairly new. I was in my first few months of flying, and I was not brushed up on my work rules and stuff like that, but it seemed like a long day for me. What I had to take into account is obviously, that California is on a different time zone than us. So it would have been, what are they, behind? Hours behind? I don't know. So by the time I got there, it wasn't going to be as late as it was in New York. So my airline did not have a flight from Long Beach. So I had to deadhead from JFK to LA, and then they had transportation to pick me up from LA to go to Long Beach Airport, and that's where I sat my standby. Like I said, there was no one in the lounge. So I sat standby. This is my first time in Long Beach. I had never been there before because, as you guys know, I avoid transcon flights, which are East Coast to West Coast or West Coast to East Coast, vice versa. They aren't for me. So once my standby was up, it was late West Coast time, so it was super late East Coast time, and at that point I had been up probably over 24 hours. So I was ready to go to my hotel room and sleep. So I called my transportation to come and pick me up from the airport. They picked me up. We had like a 30-minute drive from Long Beach Airport to where I was staying. And when I finally got there, I'm the only person. This is my first time checking into a hotel by myself because I'm used to being with my crew, at least the flight attendant. Sometimes the pilots don't stay at the same hotel as us, but in this instance, typically they're flight attendants with me. So I let them know like all the information they typically ask us when we're checking in at hotels. And the receptionist was like, I need your card. Your card has to be put on file. And I'm like, excuse me? And she's like, in order for you to check in, I need your card. I was like, crew, we don't give our cards because the airline pays for it. And she is like, you can't check in without putting a card on file. So me being new, I should have followed my gut. Pro tip, you guys, always follow your gut. It felt wrong, but I gave her my card, and she checked me in and gave me my room key. So I was heading towards the elevator. It was a high-rise hotel. It looked like any other normal hotel. And she's like, oh no, you're not upstairs. You're gonna have to exit the hotel, go through the hallway, exit the hotel. Your room's in the back. So I'm like, okay, maybe they have another tower. Some hotels have 2 towers and they're not connected. So I follow her directions and I go down the hallway, I exit, and then I get to what looks like a totally different world. The inside of that high rise, and where the reception was nice and bright and modern, where I was looked like Bates Motel. It was like a strip hotel setting where it faced like a back alley that was pitch black, but you could hear people talking, and it was just like one stairwell. The rooms were facing outside, which, fun fact, for my previous airline, there are certain rules that the airline has to abide by. That the hotel has to abide by, and our rooms are not supposed to be public facing, meaning that anybody can walk up to your hotel room door, knock on the door, and do whatever they want. So I was like, oh my gosh, this can't be right. And there wasn't an elevator, so I was dragging my bags up the flight of stairs to go up to the top. It was like 3 levels, the top level, and I get to the room for the hotel room that I was assigned, and I go inside, and I'm like, yeah, I can't stay here. The inside looked like if someone had some type of fight, and there were stains on the carpet. I didn't feel comfortable. So I call my mom and I tell her everything that happens, and she's like, call the company and tell them everything you said to me, that you don't feel comfortable, that you don't feel safe here, and they need to move you to a new hotel room. So I call. Mind you, at this time, it's wee hours of the morning in the West Coast, so it's way past wee hours of the morning on the East Coast. Sorry, you guys, if you hear noise, I am on a layover. So yeah, I called the company. The crew scheduler that I spoke to was so nice. I explained everything to him, that, she was demanding my card, and he was like, no, you never put your card on file. The company pays for it. He's like, that's absolutely unacceptable. I told him that I was not comfortable with the room. I told him where the room was and how it was placed outside like an alley, and that I didn't feel comfortable that someone could just walk up to my room door. And he said, yeah, that's not allowed. I'm calling the hotel right now. He said, don't unpack anything. Just stay in the room. I'll call you back, and I'm going to try and figure out for them to get you a room inside the hotel tower and see what I can do. So I followed his directions. I sat there. I waited. 10 minutes passed. Nothing. 20 minutes passed. Nothing. 30 minutes pass, and I finally get a phone call back from him, and he's like, I'm so sorry for the delay. The receptionist was just being very difficult, going back and forth with me, and that basically they don't have any more rooms for you, so we're gonna have to move you to another hotel. He was like, give me a few minutes to square away transportation to take you from this hotel to another hotel. So I said, okay. He said, just go and wait in the lobby for me. So I took all my stuff. I didn't unpack anything. So I just took my bags. I dragged them back down the stairs, down the hallway, breezeway area, back into the hotel, and sat in the lobby. The receptionist had an attitude. What she had going on is none of my business. So I basically just ignored that, sat there quietly. 10 minutes passed, nothing. 20 minutes passed, nothing. 30 minutes passed, nothing. 40 minutes passed, nothing. Around 45 minutes, the crew scheduler finally called me back and was like, I'm so sorry. Because it's so late, it's hard to get transportation because it wasn't pre-scheduled to come and pick you up. So we're going to order a Uber or Lyft to come and pick you up, and they should be there shortly. So I waited another 20-25 minutes for the Uber or Lyft person to come pick me up from that hotel, and we drove another 35 minutes to another hotel. You guys, at this time, I was beyond delirious. I was so tired. I didn't know what to do with myself. It was just a zombie going through the motions. So we get to the next hotel. It is getting closer to sunrise, basically, on West Coast time. So it's in the middle of the day. It's the morning on East Coast time. And I get to the hotel. I give them the information they always ask for. And the receptionist at that hotel was a super nice guy. And he was like, I don't have a reservation for you. When I heard those words, I was ready to burst into tears because I was so tired that I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't think I had it in me to now go and look for another hotel or wait how long for them to find me another hotel. So he saw how tired I was and how I was on the verge of a breakdown. I called he's like, I was about to call my company, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to give you the room, and we will figure it out with your company in the morning. I can see that you're tired. Just go up, have a good night, and we'll figure it out. So I was so thankful for him. I was like, thank you so much, thank you so much. So he gave me the room. I still called my company and let them know, like, hey, they don't have a reservation for me, but he was able to give me a room, and they would like for you guys to call them and like work it out or figure out the logistics. And when I had called the scheduler, he's like, you're just getting to the hotel? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh my gosh, I thought you were there hours ago. I said, no, I've been waiting. I had to wait for the transportation, and then it was a drive, and then trying to figure this out. I'm only now getting a room. He's like, I'm so sorry. This should have never happened to you. I'm really sorry that you're having to deal with all of this. So I got to the hotel room. I went to sleep because I was exhausted. Woke up the next morning, ended up sitting in that hotel for 3 days because I was supposed to be sitting home reserve, even though that's not my base. And I never got called to be used. So when it was approaching my last day, they were reporting that there was going to be this huge storm that was going to be coming through. I don't know if it was the LA area or the New York area. I can't remember. But this huge storm was coming through, and that a lot of flights were starting to get delayed and canceled. And I was like, oh no, I cannot be stuck here any longer than I am. I'm ready to go home. So I literally got out on the last flight that went out before the storm happened. And that is my story of my long day in Long Beach. So since then, I obviously don't work for that airline anymore, but when I did, I avoided Long Beach. Don't send me to Long Beach. I have no interest in going to Long Beach. Matter of fact, don't send me to the West Coast at all. So yeah, that is my experience. Thank you guys so much. If you've made it to the end of this video, I want you to comment down below what is the worst hotel experience you've had, whether you're a crew member or if you're just a regular traveler. Let me know. I'm interested. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next video. Stay safe and see you soon.